Okay, this is gonna sound really weird, but hear me out. When I was a little girl, I grew up in this old, slightly dilapidated house. It was large, with wooden beams, creaky floors, and for as long as I can remember, it had what I thought were automatic doors. Whenever I approached them, they'd swing open gently and close soft behind me. As a kid, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Imagine living in an old house with modern tech like that, right? I'd invite friends over and we'd giggle as the doors opened for us like we were VIPs entering a high-tech mansion. They'd leave in awe and I'd bask in the feeling of living in the only old house in the neighbourhood with automatic doors. Fast forward to last week, my family and I were sitting around the dinner table laughing about memories from that old house. We moved away when I was 14. My boyfriend, who was visiting, remarked, "It must have been so cool growing up in a house with automatic doors. How did they even do that back then?" Then my parents exchanged a weird glance, and then my mum said, "Honey, that house didn't have automatic doors." I laughed, thinking she was joking, but my dad's face was serious. No, really, those were just normal doors. Confused, I obviously recounted countless instances where the doors had opened for me. My little brother, who was too young to remember the house well, looked intrigued. "That's impossible," my mum said. She went on to explain that the reason we moved was because they'd started noticing weird occurrences around the house. They never told me so as not to scare me, but they'd hear footsteps, feel cold drafts, and sometimes even saw shadows. I suddenly felt a chill down my spine. My boyfriend, ever the skeptic, laughed it off, but the atmosphere at the dinner table had shifted. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, my mum showed me an old newspaper article she had kept. It was about our house and the old man who lived there before us. The title read, "Elderly man dies alone in residence. Neighbours described him as polite and always chivalrous." Putting two and two together, I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about all those times the doors opened for me and the friendly old ghost who just wanted to be helpful. My childhood home wasn't haunted by a malevolent spirit, but by a kind old man who perhaps loved the feeling of opening doors for a young girl. So next time you encounter something inexplicable, remember, chivalry may be dead in today's age, but in my old house, it was very much alive. Come to think of it, maybe chivalry is dead after all.